Good morning, bookers. Welcome to What the Book on this amazing Sunday morning, Saturday evening, your side. Of course, I'm Cynthia Sullivan, international best-selling author and one of the triple threat co-hosts of this next hour of shenanigans that you will be part of. Good morning, MB Davis. Mark, welcome to the house.
Hello. How goes it today? This wonderful Sunday for you.
Well, we have sun, and if any of my listeners or our listeners in bookers or followers, whatever, have followed any of the Queensland weather at the moment, we have sun. And now can it please soak up the meters of rain we have flooding our towns and cities, which would be really nice. So at any point in time, the sun can stay. I need washing to be done. Please. We need businesses to dry out. We've had a very, very tough time in Queensland this year in flooding. So we really would appreciate the sun to stay.
I've literally paused doing laundry so I could do the show, and I'm going to cheers to that right now. Hold on.
Nice. Nice.
Taking a break.
Very good.
With you lovely ladies.
Welcome, Kaya Carrington-Russell, to the house.
Hello, my sunshines. How are we today?
Sunshine being the word. Sunshine being the word, Kaya. Oh, my God.
Yes.
It's the theme of the day, isn't it? I was just driving through torrential rain to get to my workplace. So I was like, that's always fun.
Oh, look, it got to a point where I had to keep the kids home from school on Friday because I didn't think I'd be able to get them home from school if I let them go. So I'm just like, Jesus. We just need to lay off.
But were you really saddened by that thought, or you're like, oh, what's a weekend? Well, I'm sure somebody will look after them.
I still had to go to work, so they were just like, well, mate, there's food in the fridge. Call me if there's blood. Other than that, you're on your own. Tagging out.
You see that, Mike? See that microwave over there?
Yeah, it works. It's all good. It's all good.
Put it to use.
It's all good. Welcome to the people look at all these people in our studio today. Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning, Sir J. Carl T.O., you gorgeous man. Look, everybody's popping in. I'm just loving this. Our guest has arrived in, so I'm not quite sure whether I should go and chuck her a link, because I normally go, visit our guests and send them a link personally, but I just saw that they came in. So I don't know, maybe I love ones that find their own way in. It's like, oh, come, follow.
Yes.
I'm scared. I'm scared for them, though. When they have that initiative, I'm like, but do you know what you're walking into?
The scent of chaos. Follow it. It'll bring you right to What the Book. Look, I'm really intrigued by today's guest. I'm new to following or stalking this particular guest, so I am thoroughly intrigued by what I've been reading. So I reckon we're going to get a lot out of today's episode. We get a lot out of everybody's episodes. Come on, let's be honest about it.
That's true.
Always a learning experience, and I always walk away so thankful that I got to not only meet the person, but always learn something new. Even if it's just something small, there's always, and collectively, I think like this show is not just growing and how many people are listening, but what we're all learning together. It's like the best thing ever. I love it. Sorry, I'm too positive.
You are.
I'll take a step back and let you guys.
I also want to give a quick woohoo to our gorgeous Kaya Carrington-Russell. 8 years publiversary. Yes. Congratulations. Fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
So
thank
amazing.
you.
We met, pretty much, about then. And I couldn't imagine my life without you part of it. So, yay, us. Well done. 8 years. Congratulations.
Yeah. Likewise, and thank you. Definitely need a stiff one for that.
I don't know if I can go dirty this early. I could.
No, sorry. I meant drink.
I could go dirty this early.
I got one, but then I was like, I mean a drink. So what I'm talking about is a drink.
I'm only on my second coffee, so I can't keep up with my own. No, I was going to say my own mouth, but then I was like, why has it just gone dirty again?
I
can't keep up with myself right now. Let me have my coffee.
Our guest hasn't even come in yet, and you're already all going
sorry.
stiff and hard. My God, we'll have to go like to start talking mortuaries or something if we're going to do that, because we have a beautiful guest coming in, and I'm going to try not to scare them. You know.
Okay.
No.
Professional. I've got this.
Now, if they, all right, now,
Hello.
Hello, good, we are a professional podcast, I repeat it. We're very organised.
We know what we're doing.
Welcome to What the Book. I'm gonna do my best to get I think I've got your first name nailed. Last name we're gonna try, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but please correct me. Welcome to What the Book, Raegen Pietrucha.
It's Pietrucha, but that's okay.
Oh, look, I was close.
It's a mind game. It's all a mind game.
Look, from people like Kaya and myself, not so much Mark. Although Mark has a C, he does try to get a bit tricky with his name. You know, it's happy. Well, welcome to What the Book, Raegen.
Thanks for having me.
I am incredibly intrigued by our conversation today. So we apologise in advance for anything that might go dirty. We blame Kaya generally. But apart from that,
it's good to have a scapegoat.
she's it. Now, Mark and Kaya, do you stalk Raegen? You should. Everybody in the thing go and stalk Raegen, because honestly, reading her website, reading her list, and I mean, I'm talking list of credentials, I'm feeling rather small, but we're going to get there. Now, I want to ask something straight off the bat, if I can. You're a professional, you are a professional editor. Mm-hmm. Does Twitter drive you mad?
It's so funny because I really think, so when we all first got, cell phones and smartphones and the ability to text, it was like a thing when people would text like improper grammar or like the period was missing, and it would drive me bonkers, right? But now it's like, there are so many possibilities if you leave off the period or the comma or the exclamation point. It's just like, it's a land of creativity now. So I think that the shift really started happening for me like a couple of years into just having a smartphone and doing the texting thing, where it was like, wow, in many ways, this is kind of like a weird bootleg type of poetry where we just do weird things and type weird things, especially when our characters are limited, like on Twitter, because we're just trying to fit it all in, fit our message in. And so it's like, whatever you gotta do, you gotta do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, at this point, I have fun with, and then emojis came along, and I mean, they just,
it becomes a bit like hieroglyphics, doesn't it? Where, you've got a combination of letters and pictures, and we just have to make up our own stories that go along with it and hope we communicate okay.
Maybe that was the Egyptian thing all along. Maybe they just skipped over the whole like text language and just went straight to emojis.
See, it's very possible. See, I am not a grammatically accurate person. My editor will attest to that I am not. I have a comma addiction. She loves me, but every time she's like, really? Commas? I went, yes, commas. I love them. They just sit everywhere. I love them. So I don't really see any, when I read Twitter posts or any social media posts, I just go, oh yeah. Was it wrong? When somebody will correct them and I go, where was the error? I'm sorry, I didn't see it. What about you, Kaya? Do you see all the social media grammar mistakes, or do you just pass over them?
I do see them, but I'm never going to say anything about them because I know I have a million in my own. Like, my goodness, I would hate for somebody to critically look at any of my social media posts because I would be screwed and they definitely would not purchase any of my books. And all I want to say is this is why we have professional editors who we love because they make the magic real and they make it you know, I'm a creative writer. Grammar is not my strong suit, and I understand that.
I'm like that.
So I will not judge anyone else for it, unless, of course, their book is published with those kind of errors. And then the question is, did you get an editor, which everyone should have.
Yes, but even in saying that, you know, professionally edited books can still have errors, which we all know and have lived through, having pointed out to us.
Honestly, nothing makes me swoon more, and this is like the devil within me. Nothing makes me more happier than finding a traditionally published book and finding that one error, and I go, thank you for being real.
Especially if it's from one of the top 5 and you're like, oh yeah, take that.
Yep. It's just lovely.
We're all human.
You'd be surprised, like, especially after you've read something for like the 20th time, your eye just sees the missing word or sees them. It's bizarre, but that's really how the mind does work.
See, that's me though, Raegen. So I finish my novel and I do the read through like we're supposed to, and, you know, the beaters pick up holes or whatever else that I need to correct, and I go do that. But as far as the grammar goes, my brain goes, oh, Sintra, you have nailed this. This is epic. You've got all the grammar where it's supposed to. You are a goddess in your own mind. And I go, I know it. Send it to my editor. And she goes, oh, for fuck's sake, what the hell? Out comes the red ink. I go, no. Mark, what about you with the editing? That good?
Have another drink. Have another drink.
Yeah. I'm not great. Grammar's not my strong suit. When you mentioned earlier that you have an addiction to commas, I'm like, yes, I identify with that. I embrace that. I also have a bizarre addiction to ellipses. I don't know what it is, but I always want to put that in there. Like every time I'm writing,
I love an ellipses.
Tweeting or something, I'm like, there's like dot, and I'm like, why is the dot there? I don't need that everywhere. So then I have to go back and delete it, and it still sneaks in there all the time. And I'm like, why?
If anybody follows my,
that on so many of my social media posts.
If anybody sees my any of my posts, I have an ellipses addiction. Even my kids, like I'll text to them and they'll text back and go, why was the dots there? What are you thinking? What have I done wrong? What have I done? And I'm like, I don't know. I just like the dots. They look cute.
That's like a representation that my brain needs more time to process what I'm doing.
I call it buffering. I'm just in a buffer zone.
Yeah, it's buffering, right? Exactly.
This is quite embarrassing to admit, because obviously we're like, congrats, Kaya, 8-year publishing anniversary, fabulous. When you said ellipses, I was like, what the fuck is an ellipse? Because I do not know grammar terminology either. So I'm like, what is an ellipse? And you're like, the 3 dots. I was like, I use them all the time.
I did not know what an M-dash was.
Oh, all right,
Twitter. I've seen it. But if you said M-dash.
All right, I'm going to...
Poets, that's the poet symbol.
I'm going to bring... I want Raegen's opinion on this, because this is a debate I've had with editors before. So I'm not going to debate you, darling. It's all right. I love you. But, okay, so I've been told that the ellipses is irrelevant. It is an out-of-date form that has now been replaced by the M-dash, and anybody who wants to remain relevant in the current situation of literary publication. Oh God, I'm bringing a second cup of coffee. This is what it does to me. Has to use the M-dash. What is your say on that, Raegen?
No, I mean, I speak both as an editor and a poet on this. And I will say, no, I disagree with that statement. I feel like you need to be able to use all of the tools that are at your disposal. And you can't actually replace an M-dash with an ellipses or vice versa if you're doing it right. That would be like replacing a period with a comma. They serve different purposes. So, I mean, granted, some functionality of certain punctuation is more similar than others, but they're not interchangeable. That's why there are different symbols, like emojis. Like you can't interchange the poop emoji with the heart emoji.
Sometimes I can. Sometimes I can.
Depends the crowd.
If I read the room right, it could. It certainly could. Look, I love you now, Raegen.
There's like, what? And then there's like, what color is the heart emoji? What does that mean? And I don't know. And don't hate me, Twitter. Don't hate me.
I only recently found out.
That I can tell you for sure.
I only recently discovered that the colored heart emojis have different meanings. And I was like, what? I just thought it was the vibe of the time.
No.
I just don't use the red one. I don't use the red one. That's saved for one specific purpose only. Anything else, you get whatever color I'm feeling at the time. But the red one, the red one is an intimate heart. It's an intimate heart, the red one. It doesn't go just to anybody.
I get them all the time. Don't worry about it, Ma.
So many people are probably going to look through my Twitter history and just be like, what's wrong with this guy? Before I knew heart colors was a thing, I was just like, yeah, I'll pick that one.
Oh, my goodness. So, Raegen, when you you said, I'm stalking you something heavy right now. You started, it says here that you fell in love with poetry when you first started. When was that? When did you fall in love with the written word?
Well, technically, it was probably around the time when I started reading, so I was very young. Now, granted, I didn't start writing until later, but my first book technically was like it was this school project in the second grade.
Oh.
And it's this 5-page thing that so it was part of a class. The teacher's name was Miss Buckman, and she had us do these little projects where these stories were ridiculous. They're like 5 pages long, but it's got I illustrated, quote unquote. It's got my little stick figure drawings, and my first one had a ghost in it. So it's got a little an elongated Pac-Man ghost. And she took my words and she typed them up onto pages. And then I drew on those pages, and then she laminated like a construction paper cover back and front, and then bound it. Oh. So I've got this little laminated 5-page book from the second grade.
How cool is that?
It's cool. It's terrible. It's hilarious and amazing all at the same time. But yeah, so I've always kind of been a book nerd and had my head in the books. I started seriously writing in college though, with some, minor stops along the way, but all just more personal than like I wasn't submitting before college or anything like that.
Wow.
What a great teacher.
Oh, yeah.
I love teachers that go above and beyond and really encourage, and like that's your first memory really of thinking, that's what I want to do. Like, how cool is this? And that would have never happened unless that teacher had gone above and beyond. I think that's magical.
Exactly. No, totally. I mean, and as silly as it might sound, like when somebody kind of makes it that simple, like breaks it down for you, like you write some words, I'm going to type them out onto these pages. Okay, now draw your pictures, and now I'm going to put it together. And I think as a kid, when you see it come together that easily, it seems like something you can do and that you can accomplish. The mystery is taken out of it from the perspective of like it seems so impossible and far away, and you don't know how it could possibly ever happen. Now, granted, obviously, big publishing houses don't do it that way. But,
no.
Just being able to see something kind of come to fruition from just your little, again, like your little 5-page story that you wrote out and then your teacher took home and typed,
It's that moment when when you've dreamed of writing a book, or in my case, taken on a dare to write a book, and, you put down word after word, sentence after sentence and whatever else. And, sometimes for some of us it takes a couple of weeks, for some of us it takes a couple of months, a couple of years, whatever. It doesn't, the time that span is irrelevant. But, when you finally get that book in your hand and you're holding it and it has your name on it, the realization that you created something that perhaps when you first started you would have thought was impossible or was just too far away to achieve, is quite humbling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you
when I get to that day, I'm
yes.
fall like a baby.
You better go live, Mark. You better go live.
I'm gonna record myself, or somehow I'm gonna capture that. But yeah, it's
not.
Look, I can't wait.
It's not too far away for you. You've got it done now, so you're in the home stretch as far as that's concerned. I mean, if I ask Kaya, where 8 years ago, 8 years in the wee dark ages of the literary world, do you remember that feeling when you first held your first ever book? No, and I'm not talking, I'm talking one that you've professionally completed and put out there.
Yeah, I do, and I had to get creative very quickly because it was a fail. So I had actually organised I lived in a country town, so I had friends, family, whatever, and I was going to do my first signing at the local pub because that's just how country people do. And anyway, I'd organised that, but I got my stock, and so I didn't get all my stock, but I had ruined, or I didn't get accurately, the border of the actual printer. So all around my book there was like gold trimming on the cover. I was like, oh shit. So anyway, what I did was, instead of being like, oh my gosh, it's come to an end, like I can't host this, and then all of them didn't come through, so I only had 6 copies. I had all these friends coming. So what I did was I created little postcards, I cut them out, and I wrote, sorry, the postie didn't come in time, but don't worry, Carla's on it, which was the main character. And so everyone that purchased that book, I gave them that as an IOU card, basically. So they did their down payment, and I was like, yeah, like I don't have the stock here. And obviously friends and family, they were really supportive. And then I just put those gold rimming ones as they are a limited edition.
Oh, wow.
Until I corrected the banner. So I think that was a big lesson for me, though, too. Not only in because I was so excited and had so much expectation on this product. And then when it came, it wasn't what I expected. And I think that's one of the first lessons that taught me, you kind of have to be creative in these situations. I could have just packed up shop and said, nobody come. But instead, it was still a blast. So I do remember it. And I was really proud of myself.
Yeah, that's amazing, actually, that you even had that idea and that you were able to turn it around so quickly into a win, actually, is what it sounds like to me.
And I think a lot of us do that. You learn to adapt quickly on your toes in this. So, Mark, good luck. It's fun.
What?
Well, okay, so Raegen is not only a writer and an editor, but she's also a consultant. I wanted to know more about this. So that you help others. People will come to you. Tell me how this works.
Well, most of the time people come to me either as I already have some kind of relationship with them, and they express that usually it's they want to write creatively, or they've maybe started, but they kind of don't know their way, or maybe they're just feeling really insecure about it or what have you. They know that they want to go in that direction, but they don't have the confidence for whatever reason generally with the work. And they're maybe thinking about going into a graduate program or something like that. And so I might help review a portfolio. I've had former students that I've either taught or mentored come to me and ask for, letters of referral and talking them through, how should I apply to programs and stuff like that. And by the way, like, so consulting for me, some types of consulting are paid and some are unpaid. So like a student that comes to me that's looking to figure out how to do a grad program, I would not charge for that. But then other times, people are looking for more professional side consultations. So, this would be like either applying for a job. So I do a bunch of like resume and cover letter work. I find people can struggle in that area. Like they've done amazing things in their careers, but they just don't know how to sell it on paper or put it on paper to begin with. And it holds them back from really getting like moving up, getting to that next step, or even getting considered by certain employers when they have the experience, but they just don't know how to talk about it. So I also do that kind of work.
I'm a bit guilty of that. I can't toot my own horn. It's weird. I just sit there and go, no.
Writers tend to be very shy about it. I mean, that's not unusual. I mean, I think many people tend to be shy about it in general, but I noticed that especially about writers. So that's kind of interesting. But then the other kind of professional aspect, but it also ties into the creative, is I can also help people promote their books from the perspective of, okay, like, do you know how to put together a press kit? If you don't, like, we can talk about, what strategies there are around, depending on what your book is, and how you can build out messaging and how you can pursue, podcasts, interviews, regular media placements, book reviews, things like that. Granted, I focus more of my energy on that in the poetry realm, because that's what I know best. And generally speaking, for prose writers, they are typically paired up with a publicist, whereas in poetry, that kind of built-in assistance really isn't there. But because of my professional background, where I did marketing and communications, at a university, among other places, I've been able to kind of pick up that skill set and then apply it to this sort of literary sphere. So to your point about, writers kind of being shy about that specifically on their resumes, they can also be shy about it when it comes to their own book publicity and promotion, and maybe don't even know where to start.
Yeah, we get asked a lot about that, and I know I get asked privately a lot about it, is like how, I've written a book. Yes, that's great, but I can't just tell people, like, how do I tell people about it? How do I stand up there and go, look, I wrote a book. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I find a lot on this. Sometimes we get authors that surprise us, but I find a lot, and I know I'm guilty of it, when people say, tell me about your book. And I'm like, it has words and it has pages,
right,
and there's a few characters and they do stuff. It's good though. You should really give it a go.
Right.
Because I get like,
exactly.
Yeah, you get, I'm not confused, but you just get a little, I don't know. It's a weird sensation.
And even Sir in the comments says, like, that whole marketing thing is very
It
scary
is.
to a lot of us, whether it's our personalities or just that lack of knowledge. Like, I don't really know the effective way to do that. It almost feels like when you're writing, you're hunkered down in the bunker, by yourself, and you're doing this, and then all of a sudden, like, you hit publish, and I imagine then it feels like, you're strapping on all the ammo and trying to go out to war, but you don't know which way the enemy is facing. You're like,
And unfortunately, a lot of people think, okay, I've written the book, I hit publish. All right, I sit back and the money just starts to come in. This is great. Bring it. Yeah. And they don't understand the fact that, writing the book's probably the easiest part of any of this. As difficult as it is, I am not playing down the difficulty of writing a book. Do not send me hate mail over that. It is very difficult. You are doing a great job, writers. You go. But marketing it is just, it's a nightmare, and there are landmines everywhere.
I think too as well, like when it comes to marketing, it's very intimidating and it's very overwhelming because we've just learned this new skill set. We've learned how to write a book, how to construct it, and how to create it. And now it's a completely different ball field. And you're looking at ways that you can get this out there. So then you start Googling, so then you start asking for people's advice. And it's a blessing and a curse that there is so much information out there at the moment, so many opinions on what is the best strategy, that it's so overwhelming. So I think it's important to have people such as yourself out there, Raegen, that are actually able to help pinpoint and focus for somebody where they know what kind of path and guidance they need, because I think a lot of people really just back away from the marketing or only stick to the limited knowledge that they have and keep repeating that, expecting different results, because they're just too overwhelmed by where to start elsewhere. So I think it's really good to have people in your position to really guide, especially new authors or even those who have been in here for a long term. I think it's really important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, and to your point about just there's so much information out there. I had a client recently tell me, okay, so these people told me this and they told me that and they told me to do this too. And it was like everything that this person had been told was just the absolute opposite, incorrect thing that you should be doing.
Oh, no.
And it was so painful to hear that, because, and I don't think that, I think they had good intentions in telling this person that. I think they were trying to be helpful, but there were so many touch points that had been made using that strategy, and this person had actually gotten some responses back like, please stop contacting us, which is a really bad sign. Like if you ever get that signal from anybody that you've done outreach to, I mean, that presumably isn't insane, and just is hateful and does that to people. That's a sign that your strategy, there's something wrong with your strategy. Like that is a major red flag. Cause most of the time in all honesty, most of the time when you pitch something, it's just going to be ignored. Nobody's going to respond to it. That might happen, 75 to 90% of the time, and you just kind of have to live with it. But like if somebody like has gotten to the point where they are actually contacting you to say, stop contacting me, like there's something wrong with your strategy. Like immediately stop, immediately back away and contact somebody who can guide you through this, because there's something going on in the materials that's causing that to happen. And that's the last thing you want to do, is continue to send that stuff out that's alienating people who might otherwise engage if you're just basically taking on a better strategy.
Absolutely. And for those playing at home, if you are submitting to agents or publication houses, no matter the size of them, it doesn't matter whether they're the small ones or the big five, they generally have rules and guidelines. Do adhere to them. Always adhere to the rules. You might not agree with them. You might not, you might not think that the best represents your book. However, if you want any chance of them to look at you, abide by their rules. If you don't abide by their rules, they will not even glance. It can be the best, most money-making book that's ever going to be written. And if you don't abide by their guidelines, they're not going to read it. Just a heads up on that one. It says here on your website, which I find it's that you in addition to writing and editing, this is funny. I love this. Bringing organization to procedural chaos. I feel like you're the right person for us.
Can you manage what the book, please?
Every
Make sure we
week,
don't
what
get
are
ourselves
you
into
doing
trouble.
Right.
Could you imagine how slammed we would get? Don't say this. Don't say that. Don't make that comment. We'd be in so much trouble.
Honestly, you think, if you really think that you are procedural chaos, let me tell you a little bit about procedural chaos regarding a podcast. I saw somebody post in a Facebook group. This was, I want to say 2 or 3 months ago. Somebody had posted in a Facebook group. They were looking to record that night. Okay, which should have been the first clue. But, hey, sometimes it happens, your interviewee falls through, whatever. Things happen, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Happen. So I thought, okay, I would be a good fit for this particular thing. I reached out. They were super excited, contacted me. Okay, we got everything set up. We even did a pre-recording phone call and everything just to kind of touch base and get familiar with each other. So that night rolls around. And I zoom in I think it was Zoom. I zoom in and it was 2 hosts and one of the hosts' microphone wasn't working. It was just totally muted. And so I'm talking to the other host and, 15 minutes goes by and the other person's still having trouble and, a half hour goes by and the other person's still having trouble and we're trying different things. And I suggested this other platform, maybe that would do something. And so we tried through the other platform and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, almost 2 hours goes by.
Oh my.
And at this point, and this is late at night, I might also add, this was 10 p.m. my time. Mm-hmm. So it's almost midnight and this microphone still isn't working. And so I said, hey, it just occurred to me, is it possible for the other host to just use the computer mic, right? Could we just do that? And this person was like, oh yeah, they don't want to do that. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like that. All right. Well, we're done here.
It's like you're talking about an early episode of What the Book. I swear to God, it's I've been doing this now for 3-4 years. What the Book? That was early years, Raegen. Early years.
Well, yeah. So that was my experience on the receiving end of podcast procedural chaos. The session obviously never happened, and the host that I could hear wanted me to come back, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that, but good luck.
Oh.
Thank you. That does make me feel much better.
We've got this going. We're fine.
I was gonna say to Citra too. So I had a question in the group. Chat.
Oh yeah. No. I thought you just said my name wrong. I was gonna throw down. It's all right. Go on. I think she did. I swear to God you did. I'm going to throw down. I will.
Regan, this is the thing.
I said Citra, didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Every once in a while, it's Desintra.
Stop it.
And Kia.
Kia's coming out now.
Did I really?
You did. Thank you, Kia.
I don't know.
No, it's on.
It derailed everything.
How does this happen? We've known each other for 7-8 years.
All right, Raegen, as of...
It's name pronunciation procedural chaos.
Right, that's it. And Raegen, I will now speak to Kia through you. I'm no longer talking to her, okay?
This is our chaos. My mic goes mute. You know why I'm getting booted out.
That's right. Now, I want to talk... you had a question. Sorry, Kia. No, Raegen, can you ask Kia if she's got a question that she has to ask?
Okay, so
Raegen, can you tell Desintra that Sir had a question in the group chat?
Oh my God. Oh, we apologize, Raegen. Okay, Sir had a chat. Sir had a question. Let me go back. Where are you, my darling? Where is the single most important place to market, blogs or social media? What would your take be on that, Raegen?
So this is where really being aware of your marketing strategy comes into play, because you need to know who your audience is and you need to know where they live. So if I'm writing a book, for example, where my target audience is, 60 plus in age, as an example, I would suggest neither a blog nor social media for that group, as an example.
Yep.
So that's why it's important to know who your audience is and to understand what your marketing approach is going to be. So for me, for my poetry collection coming out, Head of a Gorgon, it's been actually quite successful as far as my strategy goes on social media, and specifically Twitter, although I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. But that is because I'm building relationships. That is because I'm building a brand.
Yeah.
I'm building a brand for myself, and I'm building a brand around this particular title. Like, we've got a whole bunch of Medusa stuff going on all of my social media accounts. And so you need to understand who you're targeting. I mean, and it sounds terrible because, I don't look at my readership that way. I look at these people as people that I'm building relationships with. A lot of them are my peers. Some of them I know professionally, like from jobs, obviously family and friends. But, my readers, I try to build relationships with them, and that's really what it's about. That's what sells books.
Absolutely.
It's not, I mean, unless you're getting into the big five and they have a whole marketing PR machine behind you where they're going to find these people for you and do all of that heavy lift and do all of your marketing and branding and find your target audiences and reach them through the venues and outlets that are most fitted to those people. You've got to figure that out for yourself. And it's not impossible, but I could never say, okay, blogs are going to work better than social media, or social media is going to work better than print media, or because it depends on your audience. It depends on what your book is and what it's about. And then it depends on who the audience is for that book as to the strategy that you take and then the toolkit that you build around that.
And I find that correct me if I'm wrong, that because there's so many different platforms and so many different ways to target, again, it's a harsher word, but it is what we do. Our readers, that I found that I've tried just about all of them, and for me personally, I found the 1, 2, maybe 3 that work the best for me, and that's where I will sit most of my marketing campaigns in. And I completely agree that building relationships will build readers, because the ones that you'll naturally then, the ones that read your genre, or the ones that enjoy the type of books that you're writing, will be the ones that gravitate towards the relationships that you're building. And am I rambling, Kaya? I think I am.
Well, I'll talk to you now since we're good. No, you're not rambling. There's a lot of value in what you said, and it's always a learning curve. And I think especially initially when you first step into it, one of the biggest tips, adding on to what you said very similarly, is those relationships and building that. So you're not rambling. You're giving good advice as well.
Relationships.
And it's very true. It's really, really true. And I say that a lot because that I see a lot of newer authors think the way to market their book or the way to get their brand across is just to keep spamming their book covers or their writing over and over and over again, or shoving it down, as I call it, book throating me in my DMs, which I don't appreciate book throating me in my DMs. But instead of being the brand, as authors, we are the brand ourselves. It's a persona that we have. We are our brands, where the best way to sell our books is us. And being that person who just wants to go, here's my book, 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 it doesn't work. It really does not work. It actually has an adverse reaction. In my experience, that has an adverse reaction. I'm far more likely to be interested in what somebody's writing by the type of person that they are, you know, like, Mark, okay, you like the Star Wars. I'm really intrigued with what you're writing. Let me see your book. So you get that organic flow through, you know.
Yeah.
What's your take,
And I
Mark?
feel like, I know nothing because I have not sold a damn thing. But what I envision in terms of marketing is just the same idea. You try to connect with anyone over things that you like.
Yeah.
You think about, like Raegen said, where people hang out, where they live, to have your kind of interests. So if, like, and I think Sir mentioned about horror, and I also write horror. So where do people who are into horror, where do they hang out? Maybe there's certain Reddit, places that there's a lot of horror fans, or maybe there's, if you're into epic fantasy and you're writing that, there's a lot of people who play Dungeons and Dragons that, and you think about it like a Venn diagram, like if there's a big crossover between like what I'm doing and what people are engaging in and other activities, then there's probably going to be a healthy amount of people who maybe want to read something related to that. And so I just think that you have to kind of think creatively sometimes out of the box.
Also,
and it has to still happen organically. Like you still have to have a relationship somewhat with these people. You can't just pop in there and start spamming them, or they're just going to be like, yeah, who are you and why are you spamming us?
You just get blocked. If you start doing that, people just block you left, right, and centre, and then your algorithms go down and you're all screwed. But also the use of hashtags can be really good if you're trying to find, readers in specific genres. So like you're doing fantasy, then of course your D&D people might be something that you want to, get seen by. So using creative hashtags that you can research this stuff quite well, and you can, sort of not target, I guess, but narrow the field a little bit to try and find where you sit in your niche markets. Raegen, I want to talk about Medusa. I want to talk about your head of, oh God, I'm going to say it wrong. I swear I'm going to say it wrong. I want to, okay, can you say it, please, Raegen, before I get it wrong?
Yeah. Head of a Gorgon.
Gorgon, okay, because I'm thinking, is it a soft G or a hard G? And then I didn't want to make kinky jokes, and then I thought, no, I won't. I'll just let you go it. Head of a Gorgon. Can you tell me about this?
Sure. So it is a narrative and poem, so it has a narrative arc, but it is poetry as well, that re-envisions the myth of Medusa in contemporary times from a feminist perspective. So Medusa's story is a tale of sexual violence, and what I did was I kind of brought it into contemporary times. I imagined a childhood for this mythic character and made it into a book of poems.
The trailer is phenomenal. I love the trailer. I think I've watched it about 50 times. It's just so well done.
Thank you.
Very engaging. Like
Canva.
I'm watching it and I'm just like, oh yes. It's poetry, but you've given it a story to go. So the poetry's taking you on a journey through it?
Yeah, basically. So there's, it's like poems in chronological order, if you will, So, you start more or less at the beginning. There's a little bit of a twist at the very beginning, but, you meet Medusa in childhood for the most part, and then, you see her in her adulthood, and then you kind of see the sort of aftermath of the things that she experiences in her life, and so it has that narrative arc, and it's just built out in poems. So the story is told in poems, but it's got that narrative chronological arc.
I love that. That sounds so good.
Yeah, it does. But I want to ask a quick question, because we do have a game at the end of our podcast, which I've got to get to. But I need to ask a little quick question from a professional point of view. And I'm sorry, Mark and Kai, I have to ask this, because
I'm nervous.
I have to.
Oh
God. And I'm not even putting my soapbox out. I'm leaving my soapbox to the side, but I just need to ask this question.
No, I know what this is.
Because
I know what it is.
Because it's a story that's involving something that could be a trigger, have you got trigger warnings on it?
Yeah, I did actually include a page in the book that's a trigger warning. And actually, you don't even have to open the book to know. If you look at the blurbs on the back cover.
I have read that,
and even in the trailer,
it does.
The text of the trailer it alludes to what the book is
Which
about.
is why I asked if you did a trigger warning, because my thing is that I don't believe in trigger warnings. I think you can be very clever with the blurb and you have with the trailer, that I know what I'm, within a roundabout know what I'm getting into when I pick up the book and I start to read it. So that's why I was intrigued.
Yeah. So, and for me as a reader, I don't require them. I kind of fall on your end of the spectrum with regard to that. Like, I don't personally require them, but I also, because of the subject of survivorship, specifically with respect to sexual violence, that sort of kind of is at a higher level than some of the other type of, I don't mean to kind of say that there's a spectrum as far as like relevant trigger warnings, but for me, sexual violence registers pretty high if there was such a spectrum. And again, for me as a reader, I don't require them, but I wouldn't want somebody who has just recently experienced sexual violence to be basically reviolated in some way by my text when that is not my intention as an author.
I get that.
Furthest from.
I get that. I'm a survivor, and I don't like trigger warnings, but I do love it when an author uses the tools that they're given correctly. In my view, send me the hate mail. I don't give a shit, people. I think that I shouldn't start these conversations. The blurb, your trailer, all of that beautiful stuff that you can put in there can tell me whether this book is for me, without putting a trigger warning on it. I think. Okay, off the soapbox. I'm sorry, I can't.
That's
no, that's
that
okay.
Is not...
And you know what? If you decide that you want to buy my book,
no, I've already.
I give you permission.
Oh no, I'm absolutely buying your book,
cut
Ray.
that page
No.
No. Just cut it out and burn it. I'm cool with it.
No.
Send me pictures.
No, I will
post it on Twitter.
I am totally buying the book because I love the idea of taking a fictional character or a mythological character and making them into a twist. It's one of my favorite things to do, Raegen, as a writer, is to take something that's known, take a character that's known and putting them in a different twist and making the reader take a journey that they don't expect with something that they think they know. I love that. So I am totally reading it. But I do appreciate the fact that it's a very clear message as what I'm going to be getting myself into. I think that's very wise and smart of you.
Yeah.
Very clever.
And that is not the question I thought you were going to ask.
Oh, wasn't it?
I thought you were going to ask her.
Plotter or Panther?
Plotter or Panther.
Yes,
all right.
that's what I thought too.
All right.
That's what I was
All right,
thinking.
Raegen, it's a quickie. It's a quickie before we have to get into the game. Raegen, Plotter or Panther?
Oh, Panther.
Oh, thank you very much. I love her. Sucks to be you, Mark.
Thank goodness, if you said Plotter, she would be on a soapbox again.
We can totally move on to the game now because I win that one. It's okay. Sucks to be you, Mark.
Oh, I'm so defeated.
I know, right? Okay, at the end of our podcast, Raegen, we play a game called Booker Feud. And here is when the really unorganized chaos part of the show really presents itself well. It's like, of course, Family Feud, but for legality reasons, we call it Booker Feud. Nobody wants to be sued. I do take an actual Family Feud question. It has been surveyed from 100 Americans, so Kaya and I, being Australian, we take no blame for any weird answers that may come out of it. Raegen, you have to pick a side, though, my darling. You have to either go on Team Kaya or Team Mark. Oh, yes.
Um,
And one has a better win-loss ratio. Would you like to know which one?
It's okay.
Which one's the more likely to win?
We don't take things personally on this podcast,
well, okay,
so
I'll
no
tell
grudges.
you what.
Yeah.
How about I'll throw Mark a bone
Ew.
since he lost the plotter versus
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
situation. How
I'll
about
tell
that?
you, that's
I
a great
appreciate
decision. I probably needed the help more, but that is okay.
She probably did.
But Raegen,
okay.
on the win-loss ratio, Mark has a better win ratio than what Kai does. So you're on the right team to start off with. Well done. All right, Mark and Raegen,
Winning.
what team name would you like?
Well, now we can't decide because he's a plotter and I'm a pantster.
But hey, okay, let me recommend.
It could be fence
so
sitters.
I actually have something with Gorgons in my book.
there we
We could
go.
totally be Team Gorgon.
Cool.
That totally
Okay,
fits.
Team Gorgon.
Team Gorgon,
All
I
right.
love it.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, Kaya, what team name would you like?
I'm gonna go with Team Fate. Fate, because I feel like that is like my situation every time coming to the end of these episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let fate decide what happens going forward. And Sir, my usual Sir Tio, are you in the chat? You're on my team again,
You're gonna
guys.
need some help. Yeah, well, my name is Fate because I get to decide. So welcome. Right. Okay. Now, Team Gorgon and Team Fate. I will ask a question. I have the top 5 answers in front of me as surveyed by 100 Americans. First team in with their name gets to go first, and then we will alternate until we get a winner. Of course, there are some very helpful people in our main feeds, so at any time use any of the answers that they put up there if you dare. Because, they've got a 50-50 chance too most times. All right, the question is, first person in with the team name gets to go first. Question is, name something that breaks down.
Fate.
Gorgon.
Oh, Fate. Oh, that was... Fate was in first.
That's okay.
Fate was in first.
I will relinquish.
Fate was...
We will relinquish.
All right. Team Fate.
She always gets in.
She does. She throws her name.
But I had an answer. But my initial answer, I'm going to wait till second. The first one I'm going to use is cars, because I feel like that's the most obvious.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It is correct. It is top of the chart, number 1, car. Well done. She's off 10.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Look at us go.
Yeah. And I'm impressed that you actually gave that before you saw Sir's answer too. Look at you go.
Me
2 coffees.
too. Look at me
2
go.
coffees. This is what it does.
Ooh. She on fire.
Team Gorgon, Mark and Raegen, name something that breaks down.
Okay, we can discuss.
You can?
I don't know. You guys make the rules.
Yeah, no.
We're allowed
You
to.
absolutely discuss.
They're loose rules.
No, you said
They're
it
very
like
loose.
you can.
No, I didn't mean it. There was no question mark on the end of that. It was. I said from the beginning I'm crap with grammar. There was no question mark on the end. That was a full stop. That was a you can do that.
There was an ellipse.
Yeah, there probably was.
I would say computer was what I was thinking. Like
Oh,
a
that's
computer
good.
breaking down.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure.
Are you okay with that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go with that. Computer.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
I love how you're like, maybe.
You can hear the question mark.
Ellipses.
Computer is 3rd on the list. Well done. Congratulations. On the board.
Yes.
Board. Beautiful. Name something that breaks down. So far we have car and computer. Kaya, Team Fate. What is your next answer?
So this might be wrong, but I feel like it is the first thing that came to my mind when you asked this question, and it is people. Things that break down people. Story of my life. People.
As in, can you?
As in like body, mental health.
Right, okay.
Either if they're on the list.
Yes, I just needed you to clarify because there's similar words on this thing that body is good on the list. Well done.
Yay!
It is number 2.
We're all just things to her.
It's true. I'm glad you know me well.
It is true. But Mark and Team Gorkin, she's in the lead at the moment, people. 2-1, 2-1.
Oh, no.
Name something that breaks down. We have car, we have body, and we have computer. That is the top 3 so far. 1, 2, 3 in a row. So we have number 4 and 5 yet to go. Team Gorgon, Mark and Raegen. What's your next answer?
Oh, man. Okay, do you have a good one? Because I really don't have.
I was leaning towards appliances, but because I've lived in mostly like hot climates, I'm thinking more of like AC breaking down, like air conditioning.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I don't know if that's too maybe obscure. I don't know.
I think appliances is kind of a good. I was thinking that
like
one.
Umbrella.
That's one of the ones. Well, I was thinking my pool, but that's really specific to me. So that probably wouldn't be on the board. But I was also thinking about appliances because I had a fridge that went out a while ago. So whichever, what do you think? You want to go with, would you like to go appliances or would you like to go with?
AC does kind of fit into appliances, right? So, I mean, appliances covers a lot of stuff. So
True. Okay. All right. We'll go with appliances.
I just love listening to the two of you going back and forth and back and forth. Yes. Have we got a final answer, Team Gorgon?
I think so. Yes, we're going with appliances.
You know what?
Final answer.
I'm going to give it to you because TV is on the list, and that falls under appliances. So I'm going to give you.
Oh my gosh! Every time.
Listen, people, body,
exactly,
breakdown.
Exactly, Kaya.
Just sit down, okay? Just sit down.
Mark, you should have listened to last week's episode. Sir got a taste of what it was like to be on my team.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir.
All right, so TV appliances is on the list. It is number 5. We are now looking for number 4, and we are in a tiebreaker situation. You know I love a tiebreaker situation. They are my favorite thing of all time. Name something then that breaks down. We have car, we have body, we have computer, and we have appliances / TV. Now, I'm going to give a clue. First team in with their team name gets to go first. Look, just yell your name straight off, because if Kai gets in first, then just yell your name and we go. The clue is, of course, you can't answer until I ask the question again. The clue is, it's a little left of center. It's a little left of center. All right. Name something that breaks down.
Gorgon.
Oh, Team Gorgon.
She hasn't finished but you didn't even give the hint.
I did. It's a little left of center.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It's a little left of center.
It's a little left of center.
Shit, okay.
It's not tangible. It's not tangible.
Okay. I buzzed in first.
You did. Team Gorgon,
Reagan, you have to figure out the answer. That's how this works.
It is a little left of center, and it's not tangible.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well.
Mark's just throwing you in there, hasn't he?
Communication. I don't.
Something that.
No, I don't know if. Look, I was thinking relationships. But
I love that.
Good
no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yes, it's not tangible, right?
Well, I don't know
construct.
because I mean,
it's it's a concept.
It is a concept, but it involves two tangible people or more, depending on how you roll.
No. We're gonna overthink it. We just get over with it.
Okay.
We gotta do it. We gotta commit.
I'm committed.
Like a relationship.
Relationship. Okay. All right. Yeah. Specify that. All right. Okay. I think we're going with final answer. Relationship.
Are you sure?
Oh, that's not. I don't know.
Because what I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna give you one.
You have to commit, guys.
The fact is, I need the exact word. So, is that the exact word that you need to give me?
Like maybe marriage. if it's not the exact word. If
I
it's
didn't say it
the
wasn't.
exact
I didn't
word
say
in
it wasn't. I'm
relationship.
just, I need the exact word.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I love when she head fucks with people
I know.
this way. Like,
She does.
just watching
And
it
it's
from
always-
the outside is
It's
satisfying.
always at this point on the tiebreaker when she does it.
Yeah.
No.
Mark, I am relying on your expertise.
What is
in
your
this
final
situation.
answer, Team Gorgon?
I don't know. I still say relationship,
okay.
but I know that's wrong.
Is it? Oh, yeah, I didn't say that.
What do
Is
you
that
think?
your final answer?
How funny if that is.
There's a great. I can't ignore the elephant in the room. There's a great answer in the chat,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's totally a toss-up between communication and relationship, but they're like so closely related.
Come on.
And
Come on. Pick an answer.
I've had a beer at this point.
Then let Raegen pick the answer. She can then warrant the win or loss. Oh, see, there you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it on me? Okay. All right. You know what? We're sticking with our guns. Relationship. Final answer.
You good? Relationship? Bye-bye.
What are you doing?
Not on the list.
Yay!
Not on the
Okay, I
list.
have my answer. My turn.
Oh my god. All right. Team Fate.
Can I?
What is your answer?
So on behalf of my amazing team, Tio and Sir, as a team, we would like to put forth communication.
I love how you just like made that into an essay. Like you were up at the Oscars. I'd like to thank my mother and Tio and
That's
Sir.
exactly. I'm already taking
She's
our
celebrating.
trophy. I'm taking our
She's
trophy
celebrating.
already. Thank you very much.
Before she's declared the winner. She's already
Story of my
celebrating.
life. This is how I win most things.
Communication is on the list. It is the winning number.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Tio.
Congratulations.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
And now you see our level of what did you call us? No, you didn't call us, but you know, I have to go back to where our unorganized. No, I lost it now. Chaos.
Systematic
Procedural
chaos.
chaos.
That was number one on the list. So I'm counting that
Number
as
one
a
on the list. Oh my goodness. That was a lot of fun. Congratulations, Kia, on your win today. It's wonderful to see.
What a victory. What a
It's
victory.
wonderful to see you pop up every so often and stay on the board. Stay on the board.
It's no thanks to me. It's thanks to Sarah and Tio. Let me assure you.
Oh my goodness. Now, look. Thank you, Raegen, for being here on What the Book today. It has been so educational and entertaining to talk to you.
Same. Thank you again so much for having me. And Mark, I owe you something. I don't know what.
No,
Better answer.
that was on me. That was on me. It's all good. It's all good. Gorgons for life.
Organs for life, of course.
Yes.
Now,
Perfect.
people, our bookers, look, go stalk Raegen Pietrucha. I love it.
Pietrucha.
Oh God.
The C is silent.
Pietrucha.
So forget about it.
Pietrucha.
call me Raegen.
Raegen, love you. Go stalk her. Head of a Gorgon, grab it, read it, review it. We always love to get reviews, especially of the nice 5-starry variety. Thank you so much for being here. This has been an utter pleasure to have you. Very educational. I like it. Of course.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Thank you, Mark, MB Davis, and the ever gorgeous Kaya Carrington Russell.
Pleasure as always. It was fun.
Always fun. Love it.
And of course, thank you to our audience for being here today, Tio Sir and the other crew in
Yes.
there. We love the support. We love people coming in and playing along.
Love you guys.
All right, so we will see you all next week, guys. Same podcast time, same podcast channel, different podcast guest. We'll see you then. Until then, be safe, be dry, and we love you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.